Hello everybody, I just wanted to share some interesting information. After eating a raw vegan diet for many years, you kind of get comfortable in what you're doing, especially if you're not feeling sick or nothing's wrong. But you still want to make sure you're covering all the bases. This is why I personally get my blood tested around once a year or so. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer, but when something's wrong, it means you've missed something when you're feeling sick or something's not working the right way. But just because you're not feeling anything wrong, that doesn't mean what you're doing is working. It's still important to check your blood work and things like that. So after eating this way for a long time, yesterday I was at Whole Foods and somebody stopped me in the parking lot. They recognized me. And they said they were on a raw vegan diet for 15 years, 100%. But then they had a stroke. And they said they were strict. Now that could mean a lot of different things to different people. So I know people I don't know that many people who've been eating raw vegan for that long or longer. But I do know some people like Dr. Fred Bishop who's been eating this way for over 60 years, eating 100% raw vegan. But there's a few other people I know eating that long. They didn't have a stroke, but this guy said he had a stroke. And then he said, and his wife or his girlfriend that was with him says it was from too much stress. He was working crazy hours and he was really stressed out, and they blamed it on that. And stress does have a lot to do with it. But bottom line is, if you have a stroke, you've been missing something a long time. Strokes and heart attacks and cancer, these things just don't happen overnight. It means something's been building up inside you until it comes back just that bad finally. So what was it? What is it? Well, he said when he went to the doctor after the stroke, they said his essential fatty acids were way too low. And they didn't necessarily say that contributed to the stroke, but they said he had to get that up. So now here he is many years later, and he says he still eats raw vegan, except he adds sardines to his diet, or fish oil. They told him to add fish oil, and he added sardines. He said 3 times a week he adds sardines to his diet, and or fish oil. And he says, this was after the stroke. Now he says after the second time he had these essential fatty acids, like something popped. Like his eyes opened, like he felt so much better. Now, was this due as a result to the healing from the stroke, or was this due to something else, like maybe from, a deficiency he had for a long time? Could it have affected or created a problem creating the stroke or not? So these are things and situations that come up like this. It's like you don't want to take everything, but you got to take something. So I got my essential fatty acids tested a couple of years ago, and they were low. They were on the lower side. You can get it from algae. You can get some essential fatty acids from algae, but there's not a lot, but there's still some. Dr. Brooke Goldner says just eat a lot of flax. Eat a lot of flax oil, and you get your essential fatty acids, but a good amount. But when I asked Dr. Fred Bishop, I said, well, I know you eat flax seeds. I know you don't do fish oil or anything like that, because fish oil is a wonderful way to get the essential fatty acids. But if you're vegan, you're not going to eat fish oil, right? So I asked Fred Bishop, I said, well, what about that, And he says he eats a raw vegan diet. He eats his flax seeds every now and then. I don't think he goes out of the way to do the oil. He might put it on a salad or something every now and then, but I don't know if he's gotten it tested. But still, a lot of these things that people are saying you need, or you have to be at a certain level or in a certain place, a lot of them are by companies that want to sell you certain things. I mean, back in the day, nobody's talking about essential fatty acids and buying flax oil from the store, or vegans need to this. I mean, even things like B12. I know a man who's been a raw vegan for a long time, and he doesn't even take B12 supplementation. I don't agree with that. I do take supplementation for B12, but there are some places that say you get it from bacteria, not from the actual food. And this guy's doing okay. He said, I may have a B12 deficiency according to what the blood tests say, but I feel great. So why do I need it? And do I take it, or do we think we need it because the people selling B12 said B12 is important, or because we really do need it? We can't get it on a vegan diet. And the hard thing is, you really don't know until maybe something goes wrong and you're like, well, I should have did that. But you can't do everything. So for essential fatty acids, I mean, I don't do flax oil, but I do flax seeds. And purslane, I believe, is a edible green or weed that has essential fatty acids. And I'm going to start doing more of that. I'll get myself tested again. I've spoken to people that do the oil, the algae oils. This is interesting, I spoke to Hallelujah Acres, which is a primarily vegan or vegetarian promoter of the Bible, Genesis 1:29 diet. And Reverend Malcolmus, he's been a vegan for many, many years, and I interviewed him years ago, and he ended up having a stroke on stage while he was lecturing. And they told him he needs some essential fatty acids. So we started doing the algae oils, and they ran tests on it and stuff. And they said, well, it's just not enough. So they added fish oil to their program. This is a vegan place that added fish oil to their program. And I interviewed him. I said, why? He goes, I did it kicking and screaming, but I take it now. And that was years ago. I don't know what's with him now or how he's doing, but... And he wasn't 100% raw. So most people will eat, even if they're eating like 75 or 80% raw, what are they eating that's not raw? Is that the factor? All I know is the only person I know who's doing this 100% is Dr. Fred Bishy, taking no supplementation on DHEA or DHA and the fatty acids, and he's doing just fine. He's doing fine. Never had an issue with that. There are other topics and things to consider when you're eating a certain way. The thing is, you want to limit the toxins and the amount of food you're eating, but you don't want to completely eliminate the nutrients that your body needs to thrive. And the body can make up nutrients for what it needs, but there's those essential nutrients you must get from food. So what are the long-term effects of not doing the correct ratio of the omega-3s and the omega-6s? You know, a lot of the studies are based on people selling something. Are they selling it because they want you to be in good health, or are they selling it because they want to be in good business? So these are things you got to ask yourself. But it was interesting because the guy that says he just adds sardines 3 days a week to his diet, but he's still raw vegan besides that, seems to be doing okay. I don't know much more about him or what his diet is, but the problem is, or the question is, there aren't many truthful, long-term raw fooders out there, too many, that have been doing this. So here I am, almost 30 years, 100% raw vegan, and even through that, over the years, I've added some things that weren't raw vegan. And for a couple of years, I tried to experiment with raw milk and eggs, and I got sick, so I went back to raw vegan. For me, it's been working. I feel amazing at raw vegan. I feel amazing not overeating. I feel great. Here it is, half of the day's already gone and I haven't even eaten yet. And that's the way I usually do it. So there's many other factors also, like this man was under a tremendous amount of stress. That's a big factor. So are we getting enough sleep? That's a tremendous factor. If it's the body can translate and transform one nutrient to another in a different way. But if we're not eating what we should eat, or we're not getting what we're getting because we're not getting enough sleep to allow the body to do what it's supposed to do, well, is the issue we're not getting the nutrient, or we're not allowing the body to process the nutrients the correct way? So these are all questions and things to think about, but I always think about these things, and I am going to add some purslane to my diet. I am going to continue to look at my essential fatty acids, just to be aware of where it's at. And I'm going to talk to other vegans and see how they're doing and what they're doing. So it's good to get blood tests. It's good to measure things. I'll put a link below where you could measure your essential fatty acids. And if you're really low, it's not to be of extreme worry, but it's good to be aware and maybe consider doing something to see if that changed it. All right, everybody, put your comments and questions below. Have a great day, everybody, and a great raw life.